I mean, I had big dreams, but I was never like, okay, like making a project with Kareem Hunt, or this is how we're gonna sell out this show with Lil Pump, or boom, Jack Harlow right here. It's just, they're kind of all just in a sequence where
we are on Colin's Conversations. I always let the guests introduce themselves, let everybody know a little bit about who you are, what you do, and kind of what brought you here today.
Yeah, what's good, you guys? It's Tre Smith on Colin Conversations. Creative charisma like no other, and person that likes art and music. Colin, how are you?
Absolutely, I'm fantastic. This is the first time we're debuting this set.
Okay.
Since luckily you're running a little bit late, I actually cut 3 inches off the table before you got here. I sat down and I was a little bit too small. You couldn't see me for shit. I'm like, I know he's a big dude. We'll be able to see him just fine. But I was like, we can't even see me on my own show. At that point, I'd be like, right, you'd see like my balding spot, and that's about all. I was like, that's not a good look for the brand.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of just your brand is just however you see kind of fit. But it's amazing because I was like, came in here and you were like telling me earlier, like, yo, bro, like it's all good because my table, I gotta get together, and I'm just thinking to myself when I'm with my girl, and I'm like, I could not cut 3 inches off a table. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm like in there like not even measuring to it, but I'm measuring.
I would say 6 months ago, I would have been the same. Like, how the fuck do I do that? But I bought this house in June, and I could run you through when we're all done. But like, I've renovated like half this house already, just mostly by myself, probably like 98%.
God is
like,
good.
You got YouTube, you got call my dad, ask him questions, you call my carpenter buddies, like, hey, how would you do this? And then, I mean, you could buy all this wood for a couple $100 and figure it out, and what's the worst thing? You cut it a little bit short and you got to redo it or figure it out. Otherwise, you got to pay somebody a whole bunch of money. It would cost me $2,000 to have somebody design a set like this.
Man.
Instead, it took me an afternoon, and you clear out the basement and throw all my tools to that side instead of all over.
For sure, and that contracting fee is like no joke. Like, that stuff is so serious, and I think people like got to really start capitalizing on like power of the individual.
People have done that so much with Corona. Like,
oh my gosh, I feel like my music career literally like light speeded.
I feel like mine completely halted and made me realize how to go so much more efficient.
I love it. It's definitely an efficiency thing for sure. It's but it's an exciting time, like just creatively for people that like are like people that create product. And create content and make music and do art and do strategic, hilarious campaigns that make us all laugh about cultural moments and stuff like that, you know?
Speaking of creating, I have this right here. I don't know how many shows you've caught, but this has become the kind of the ceremonial passing of the torch of a guest gift. Okay. Go ahead and open that up.
That's guest gift. Okay, this is from me. Wow. Right here on Colin Cat. Okay. That's hard.
That is the Colin's Conversation bottle opener.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
That's made by Twisted Willow Fabrications out of New York. They were a guest, I think, episode 30 or 40.
They're clean.
But yeah, they do custom metal fabrication. Anything you want out of metal. That's complete stainless steel. You can leave that outside. It won't rust. It won't bust. It'll just open bottles and get you fucked up.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I think I'm going to put this in my DJ bag.
You gotta have one.
I'm saying just to have, like just in case, because you never know. I kind of like make sure I have the essential stuff, but now it's kind of gotten to the point where like essentials are so taken care of. It's like just random personal
It's no longer phone wallet keys. Now you got a whole backpack of everything you could ever need.
It's not 25 1/8 1/4 inch adapters, and it's just like flash drives and raw papers and a lot of other stuff that you need to DJ.
That sounds like the best career starter pack. You're gonna need raw papers, some adapters, and a good time. That's
for sure. It's a blessing, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of good too, though, just having like preparedness. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're like working. I think that's like one thing I kind of like didn't really like understand the value of like when I first started. I was just like, I got good ideas. I don't have the best equipment to do my job, but I just feel like my ideas are strong, and I'm just grateful for that, and like because now I feel like I have the tools to do my job to like the best of my ability in that time, and it's fire preparedness. preparedness.
We had do you know Cabin in the Woods?
Cabin in the Woods?
You know him?
No, but that sounds amazing.
It's a producer rapper out of Cleveland.
Okay.
Check him out. He was on I don't know, episode late last year.
Okay.
But he had a bit that every rapper, every producer needs a music orientation, kind of.
God, one thing, and when it would change, I promise this would change the game forever. Actually have orientations for being anything you want to be in the music industry.
How McDonald's kind of runs you through how to make fries, how to run the Big Mac. Like, you have to teach people that it's not just, not just about creating. It's about also running it as a business. You need to make a product to make money.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a performance or whether it's
absolutely agree.
A release. But so many people are broke musicians, but they're trying to make a living off of 0.00004 cents a stream.
Absolutely.
That's not getting you anywhere.
I mean, it's not. And the real thing is, I think, is just the fact that it's like, it's not something that's driving them. They need to be driving a purposeful project or piece or product. I mean, let's not even like, even just taking it in the most like simplest form is just, I don't promote and then release a product. I already have the product, and then I push it to who I think needs this product in the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like, that's just a huge thing, because there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of creative people that don't feel like they're valuable, and they don't feel like they have the resource, and they don't feel like they have a platform. And it's you kind of got to make it your own. The more I realized that when I was creating and making music and DJing and doing audio engineering and making beats and doing ad advertisements and stuff like that, I just kind of really focused more on the 5 people versus the 5 million. You know what I'm saying? And once I did that, it was real easy to make the element of competitiveness just be not even a factor when I'm like making stuff or just doing stuff I love, Has
it always from day one, has your brain just clicked in a musical manner, or when did music become such a major part of your life?
Yeah, it was kind of always like that. I always was just like, music just was, to me, I think it was just like really the nucleus of, it was the nucleus of a lot of avenues of culture. I was able to really just hone in on not only things I liked, but really how to cope with the things that I don't like, or the things that I don't understand, more importantly. So that to me was just like the world to me. You're just like, holy crap, like I see someone in the real world. We don't look the same. We don't come from the same place. We don't have any connection, interest, or anything that would connect us, but we'll go to the same place and hear the same song and sing the same song, and now we're both just on the same team. And I just thought that was like so amazing. And in the beginning, I never really was like, let's do I mean, I had big dreams, but I was never like, okay, like making a project with Kareem Hunt, or this is how we're gonna sell out this show with Lil Pump, or boom, Jack Harlow right here. It's just, they're kind of all just in a sequence where it all is a result of kind of the journey, and I'm just kind of really enjoying the journey, because I always knew I would be able to do what I'm doing now, but to see the path so as clear as I do now, was so far-fetched. It was so obnoxiously far away, so I kind of feel like I always had a good foundation, and I knew music was going to lead me into great things. So.
And has it been Cleveland from day one, or where were you born and raised?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much Cleveland. I was born and raised in Willoughby, so like I went to like before I was there, like being my like elementary school, I was like in like South Euclid or Cleveland Heights, or
so east side suburbs. And
like
do you make the west side divide, or are you one of the people that as soon as you hit that west side, you're like, nope, got to turn the car around?
Nah, I'm pro west side. If you in Parma,
it's so weird to me how like if you live on the east side, if you grew up on the east side, for some reason you're like,
it's like subconscious beef.
Yeah, like for what?
Yeah.
Like, the only difference is they have less expensive delis, and we try to make a corned beef sandwich cost twice as much on the east side.
I know, and they get they got the concrete budget for their skate parks, so they're just out here. But I think that the West carries a different energy in Ohio, and it's actually really great contrasting wise to the east side, because you have more people that are kind of more I think culturally progressive in what they're doing. Just how I was seeing skateboarders on the west side in Lakewood and kind of being a part of that culture and stuff like that. But yeah, just really was mainly in Willoughby and surrounding areas. But I was in elementary school there, middle school there, high school there, and just had a lot of foundational parts of that there.
Where's if somebody was going to come here as a transplant just for say a weekend, where's 3 places that they need to go, whether it's Willoughby, Cleveland, West Side, within the Cleveland area, the Tre Smith top 3 places you need to see?
Tre Smith top 3 places you need to absolutely go. I would recommend, if you want nature, I would recommend Skyline and Willoughby Hills. That stuff is so great. It's a nature preservation. It's not owned by I don't know, the Metro Parks. It's not owned by them. It's just a nature.
Is that the bird sanctuary one?
Yeah, of course. With
right by River Road.
Oh yeah.
Six
right
and River Road.
Right before
over by
6
the
and River.
You got the soccer things. Right?
Oh yeah, of course. That's the spot. That's one of the best views you'll get. If you go deep enough and know the right paths to go to. I think it has some of the biggest and best views. I used to bring artists from Atlanta there. They would be putting us on to artists Made in Tokyo and OG Mako before he became kind of a little bit bigger, and Key and just all these Atlanta artists, and we'd bring him there and be man, this stuff is beautiful, and we'll just be.
See, I hate that part for one reason. They don't allow dogs.
They don't?
Nope. It's because it's a bird sanctuary. So so to protect the birds, you're not allowed to bring dogs in there. And I forget how much, but there's a sign that's a ridiculous fine if you get caught with a dog there.
No way.
And me, there's no point in going to the woods if I'm not allowed to take my dogs.
Yeah, that's kind of sick.
It's kind of a sadistic feeling the few times that I've gone to the woods, and I'm well, my dogs are at home.
I do it for my dogs. So
absolutely.
So I get it. So that's. Wow, that's kind of a very disappointing thing. But
the same type of lookout in the same area, though. 3 years ago was better because you could see the skyline a little bit more. But over in Chapin Forest, how you could see downtown Cleveland from Kirtland.
Yeah.
It's the same type of overlook where now the trees are kind of getting into where you kind of have to wait till fall to see it. But to know that you're in Kirtland and, pretty much nowhere. And then you're oh, that's downtown Cleveland.
Yes, that's amazing. I love that you actually bring that up because I literally was before I was even going to that spot, I was going to Chapman just all the time. I worked with a artist from way back in the day. His name was Chris Black. He really is responsible for giving me my first round of good opportunities to do some dope stuff, and I learned a lot, and it gave me a good foundation to do things. But we all used to go to Chapin all the time, every day, every moment. It was kind of just a part of our culture. Just being Willoughby and having an exit at Chapin that was in Willoughby. There's 2 exits, the Willoughby one, and then there's the Kirtland. And so we would be, we'd park our cars at the Willoughby one, walk all the way to the Kirtland exit, and then come back up, and that just be what we do daily, and just making music and just trying to figure it out. So there definitely some history.
So for your day, we're going to the park. After we go to the park, we're probably going to be hungry. So in your top 3, let's use number 2 for one place.
Fire.
One place you have to go to eat to have something Tre Smith approved.
One place you have to eat to get something Tre Smith approved. That's so hard. But I think one spot.
And we have gas in our car, so we could leave Kirtland and go anywhere else to get food if we need to.
Oh, word! Oh man. Okay, so we're leaving Kirtland. We're on the east side. Honestly, you're probably gonna have to mess with my favorite wing spot, Mama's Boy. They're pretty good.
Mama's Boy, that's over 91.
Yeah, they're pretty raw. They good people.
I've not once gone in there, and I've always felt like I should go in there. So now it's become higher on the list if I have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to limit it to just one because it's just so many good small businesses that make really good food that really just taste delicious. But you gotta definitely mess with them, Mama's Boy out there, or even the Cheesesteak Wizard spot.
Cheesesteak Wizard.
It's
Where's
pretty good. It's right next to Chase Bank in Eastlake.
Gotcha.
Across from the Walgreens.
In that area, my go-to for food would be Petey's. You know about Petey's?
Oh yeah, Petey's.
Gotta go to Petey's.
I was with my homie last time I was out there. Last time I went to Petey's was like before the pandemic, kinda. Oh wait, no, I went another time with my girl. I went one time with her and it was fire. But before that, I went to Petey's after a Christmas party last year. I was DJing like a super personal like just Christmas party with all the like homies that I pretty much like just like knew through like mutual friends, and it wasn't really like a music focused type thing like that. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of like we're all like, yo, it's Christmas, let's all play like Kid Cudi remixes, you know what I'm saying? Just like and have fun and stuff. But we went to Petey's after, and real good food, definitely a good spot for sure. Amazing breakfast spot. Another breakfast spot I would definitely recommend is JT's.
JT's, I'm not hip to that one.
Oh man,
we're dropping all sorts of new stuff here.
Man, exclusives, dude. JT's Diner.
Where's JT's?
It's in Willoughby. It's pretty much like at the end of Lost Nation, like Lakeshore, off of Lakeshore, across from Osborne Park. It's a great breakfast spot. Like I used to go there and like have mimosas. It's pretty good after like a long like DJ set of just like turnt calamity.
Is that the DJ standard? Do you have to work and then go get mimosas? That seems a little bit like upper echelon DJ.
Nah, I think it's kind of wild because now it's like it's kind of gotten a bit redundant. Like, it's just like DJ stuff and like be a party animal and like not take care of yourself and like be subject to this like lifestyle or facade. But it's actually like really dope. I try to like really just have fun and just do what I love and just make dope music. But I do get turned though sometimes. It gets fun. It's fun though.
So we got the park. Then we're going to go get some wings. And you just mentioned you like to get turned. So for the evening, of the top 3 things you got to do while you're in Cleveland, where's the one place of the evening activities that you got to go?
Wow, man, these are all great questions. Colin. Conversations. I'm not even going to get these questions probably anywhere else, which is great.
That's the goal.
Which is amazing. So.
And we're just getting started.
I
got a nice hat trick to come after this.
I love it. You're coming with left hooks, right hooks, good content, good values, gems. All right, one thing I got to do entertainment wise, if I'm in the land, I got unlimited places to go. Since it's fall, I'm probably going to have to say you're going to have to go to either Patterson's or some type of like fall oriented event like with the fam or something. Or like something that just makes you like super wholesome on some Ohio shit. We're not really turned right now during this time. Right. Like in the summer you'd maybe go to like a club or like a little bar spot you rock with, or like I don't know, like a concert by Tre Smith, like a beach party or something.
Nice little subliminal. There's not just any concert. It's got to be a concert by Tre Smith.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean I'm always doing those, but obviously during COVID it's actually been just get better at designing concerts, creating concert experience.
Yeah, we went to the Grog Shop for the first time this year last Thursday to see the Blockhead Johnny, Scuff Mixon.
Oh wow,
Mellow Man Funk.
Blockhead
such an interesting there's you had to stay at your tables and you had to stay with the people that you came with at the table.
That's cool.
It's so weird to see the music, but not it's like a whole different way to interact with it. And like you said, people are just trying to figure out how can we still have a show.
Yeah.
And still try to do things.
I feel you. That's amazing though that you even went to that show.
We got to go to that show. We support everything that, especially Scuff Mixon does. And then, like you said, Blockhead Johnny. You gotta love it.
Yeah, they're goats. They're good people. They're just I consider Blockhead Johnny is like one of those people that is in the scene that he just kind of is like a good piece of like Cleveland culture.
I think I forget what episode we said. We said Blockhead Johnny. Oh, that was the Doobie Rogers episode. Doobie Rogers said he was like the corner store that he's always got the snacks. No matter what type of snacks you want, Blockhead Johnny's got them. So let's move into something that everybody has to do to get on the show is actually show that you have real fans and that you don't buy your followers type thing. That we have people interact, give questions to the show, and what you don't know about is some of them that are submitted via video.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them that you don't know about, and then we have some Instagram posts that we're going to pull through.
Cool.
So the first one is going to be a video from our friend Jamil in the show.
Oh wow, that's brother.
So let's play this here.
Hey Tre, hey Colin, what's going on? It's Jamil in the show. So Tre, my question for you, I know you produce and create in a lot of different genres. if you could only produce and create in one genre for the rest of your life, what would it be? And it can't be hip hop if you want.
I love it.
Hey Tre, hey.
I love that. And now I just want to go expert mode. So he's telling me I'm a producer. So beforehand, one shout out to Jamil. Jamil, that's my guy. He like really has known me, has known my brand, has seen how big it's gotten, how from 0 to 100 it's gotten. So like I always have respect for him.
Absolutely.
All the time. But he recently posted this and said this on my Instagram, and when he said that, I just had so many. It was almost like when he said it was hard mode for not to choose rap and hip hop. It was kind of like easy mode. I was like hard. If it had rap and hip hop, that's what would be hard because I know my strengths. But I'd probably have to do like either like film scoring or like classical music. Probably because like Hans Zimmer is like amazing. Mm-hmm. He's like actually he's like an expert level creative person. So like he's really, really dope. And probably like, yeah, definitely film. John Williams, he's great. Dude does all the Star Wars and all of those things. And he's really, really great composer. And I feel like that would just kind of be a great challenge for me. It'd be easier because I'd be peaking my challenging part of my brain pretty much for musically.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
Yes.
All right, so for our second question, how do we pronounce this? That's
oh wow, that's Luke Tinku. That's his name. That's his real name.
Hey, what's going on, Tre? It's your boy Took here, and I got a question for you. If you could lock in with any producer for a week on a project, who would it be?
Man.
Any producer for a project for a week.
Oh my gosh, he just had to say he couldn't even like let me like get a couple like oh my gosh, just one. They're all, first off, it's just there's so many great producers of all levels of like creating that I just have a super insane amount of respect for. But excuse me, I think I'd probably had to go with Eric Dan, E-Dan, Mac Miller's Peoples. He's just kind of like someone that I had the privilege of kind of them being a unique part of my journey. And when I was able to work with Big Germ, Mac Miller's engineer, producer, kind of before things kind of got a little bit more evolved, even though they were still doing great records. Eric Dan was kind of like the standard. He was kind of like our Mike Dean. He was our, you know, how Max Martin is to like Taylor Swift or that kind of stuff. We came up on just Midwest music, so he's someone that would be like, I don't even care how many views this gets. I don't care this gets a Grammy. We're just gonna be great to the best of our ability with our tastes. So definitely Eric Dan, E-Dan, ID Labs, those guys for sure.
You see, it made it seem like it was going to be hard. You answered that one easier than a lot of them.
It's just narrowing it down. It's hard.
We're going to pull two of them from Instagram. We're going to go with Will Cherry.
Okay.
Will Cherry wants to know, what's the favorite track that you've worked on for somebody else's project? So not your favorite track that you've worked on for your own, but for somebody else's project.
Wow. I actually think that it's very ironic that Will Cherry is answering this, because he actually is the person who has this question, who's the answer to this question. Is probably Will Cherry's album. I worked on Burgundy with Will Cherry, and it was a super humbling experience, super creatively powerful experience. And I think the reason why I really like it the most right now at the time, because I've done a lot of projects, but at the time that just has really meant the most to me. But I think it's just because I really got to work with Lorraine Chia, and we had a lot of dope and great energy in the beginning of our journeys together. And she was a very powerful talent, so it wasn't really hard for her to kind of get in a position that was greatness. So we like did some dope stuff like when we were really starting up, before things were really like even professional or like serious. She just was like, went to my school. I had respect for her. She was on the come up, I was on the come up, and we made some really dope stuff. But over these past 8 to 9 years, we just kind of haven't, I don't think, made a time where it was like kind of just like it organically made sense for us to create something. We were kind of just like, she's, you know, doing stuff with Chance the Rapper's people. I'm kind of still kind of in a trying to really get a foundation of local network going on, and but we'd always catch each other, and it was always love, always good energy. And the weirdest part about all this is that, you know, Will Trey didn't even know we were connected. He didn't even know like we were a part of any like things, and it's just like crazy how the universe does that. Made me super grateful for this year, and just another reason to always show love and just trust the universe and trust that you know, things are gonna work out if you feel like they haven't, or you feel that feeling of like why isn't this happening? You just gotta like be patient with it.
This is at Your Kids Friends. What visual design project meant the most to you, and how do you use that energy to create new stuff? Because you don't just do music, you also do album covers and all sorts of visual work too. So
for sure.
What was the number one project that stands out to you to kind of feed off that for future energy?
I think I did really touch base on my work with DJ Danny Diggs. That's my brother. It's my dog in the DJ world, and like, I mean, just in life in general, he's just a good dude and funny guy, and very wise, but doesn't really take life so seriously. He's really, really dope peoples, but the more I kind of took the time to think about this, it has to be my work with OG Mako, Atlanta artist. I did an album artwork for him that was Cudi themed kind of project, and like I ended up getting a follow from him on Twitter because I knew who Rick Rubin was in his default picture, so he followed me on Twitter because I said wow, and then I tweeted out and said Rick Rubin is the reason why I got connected with OG Mako, and he randomly tweeted and he was like, yo, I need someone for this artwork who can do it, and I didn't even really think I said like yes me. I didn't say like anything about the tweet. I just sent him the artwork, and he's like, bro, this is dope. We're gonna use it. And he used it, and he shouted me out on his like Twitter account, and like it went crazy. I ended up getting like a write up on The Fader and Pitchfork and every other Hot New Hip Hop, every other Complex magazine, just every press, every single like piece of like press. I kind of got that for the first time. And if it wasn't for OG Mako putting that battery in my back, like he might not have like paid me the most money or, you know, gave me the most time, but he just gave me a platform. So I'm definitely always blessed and grateful for that, because that gave me the confidence I needed to just realize like I could do dope shit. So
yeah, you just take advantage of the opportunities that are, you kind of create your own opportunity, but once one's available, you kind of just go right into it. I learned something today. This one song has actually got 3 people on the show, essentially. I had no idea that you produced Set It Off.
Because I deserve it. Love when the haters be up on my dick. Every time that I flex it make them sick. People take pictures with seeing my shit. Then when they listen, they notice it hit.
Oh, yes.
Like I could tell you almost every word in that song, but I never went past that.
Wow.
It was that song, and you're like this story because you're the nature man of Lake County Parks. Lake County Parks, you should give this man an endorsement.
For sure.
I was walking through Pete's Pond.
Okay. Oh wow.
I was doing my research. I was going to have Mike Miles on the podcast.
Okay.
This was early. This was about a year and a half ago, real early in the podcast. And you know, especially a musician, you know, like I'll take the dogs for a walk and throw them in my headphones just to kind of go. And when I was listening to that song, that's where I learned about J-Work, because J-Work kind of almost stole the show on that one with just how he came in with the energy. And then I was like, well, shit, I got to still learn about Mike Miles because he's coming over to my house this evening. But I was like, kind of in my head, I was like, all right, got to look at J-Work.
Where did J-Work? That's my brother. I love him.
He was a great interview. But yeah, this is one of my favorite songs. So kind of give us the backstory of what was it like producing this song, the process of everybody coming together, and go from there.
Yeah, well, Set It Off, it's kind of really like a good moment in time, because it kind of like I kind of was a big driving force of the reason why the song happened. This beat was made like probably a couple years before Jalen or Mike even like knew it existed. And like the other dude that co-produced this, my dude MD Tre, it's my dog Mark Delicio, if people know him, on the Willoughby side, some Willoughby shit. But he's a great talent, and I feel like I have a kind of a responsibility to really give him platform and give him artists and give him just anything I can to put him in a better spot. And me and Jalen kind of rekindled our friendship after like a very, very long hiatus. No, nothing negative. It just like time. Right. Time just does that to some people. And this was like in the batch because I was making that keyboard, that do 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 do. I was like made that like 4 or 5 years ago, even before they even knew this was a beat. By the time MD got it and made a drum rack to it, it was just such a long process. I was just kind of like throwaway. At this point, it was like, I need to just get this out. But Jalen heard that and was like, oh my gosh, like I need to make a song to this. And to have Mike hop on it too was just like blessings, because he's like, again, another critical part of like Lake County like culture, and just
he
like
is undoubtedly one of the most underrated, and any person that's looking for any bit of a good song. I found out what Mike Miles charged for a feature the other day. I was asking him about an artist I'm managing now. I was like, you guys would be great, you know. It is undoubtedly the most. If you're not buying a verse from Mike Miles right now, you're fucking stupid. That's my endorsement on that one. I mean, the quality that he's putting out. Yeah,
I think Mike he's a great lyricist, you know. That's why I just wanted, like, I want him to have, like, just, you're right, like, a lot of people supporting him, because I think he needs to be more included in the community.
Absolutely.
Of just music and just creating and just, like, in general. You know
at least this platform, at least once or twice a week, we try to throw something Mike Miles out.
That's fire. That's fire.
One of these corners, there'll be a little link about go watch Mike Miles interview.
Be like, go watch.
Was it a long process? Did it kind of come together quickly once you got the beat, or?
So this process was very interesting. I think that once Jalen got the beat, he was kind of hyped. This was already a moment in time when Jalen was really kind of just consistently recording himself. He got so compelled to do music that he really was like, you know what, I don't have the most like engineering skills, but I love my music so much that I'm gonna sacrifice what I need to really get the song done and just to do like some dope with it. And he recorded this at his spot, and shortly after, I think this might have been like one of the very few songs like he ended up like not releasing or did release like the last one before he started linking with his engineer, Colin, who's actually a Cleveland legend all in himself. I could go on about Colin for days because of how amazing he is, but we ended up doing a revision to it, and of course Brett Vance shot the video. Shout out to Brett Vance too. That's my dog. I was just talking to him today.
I gotta say though, the original version better than the second version. From a fan,
personally,
100%. I liked it. I don't dislike it because I like the song, but the first one 100% better than the second one.
What do you think is like the best part that you take away from the first one versus the second one?
The second one to me, it's again, I sit here and I ask questions. I don't know the technical parts of it, but to me, it sounds slightly slower. Like, I don't know beats per minute or anything like that, but the build-up is slightly slower.
You're already ahead because you know what you said beats per minute, so.
I'm not retarded. I learned
You're in your bag for that.
That's why I sit here with people like you, so that I learn.
I love it.
As a marketer, I need to sit down with a musician, a maker, every other position, so that when a new client comes up, oh, well, yeah, I just talked to Tre Smith the other day. I could tell you different things about this or that.
That's great. That's amazing to have.
But yeah, to me, it's a more polished version on the second one, but the rawness of the first one is what I like about it, I think.
I love that. There was another record that I'm going to leave unnamed because I don't even want to like people to have the bias, like our audiences. Like I'd hate to have the audiences like know the bias, but like there's a record I said for like that same exact reason. I was just like, dude, like we had, because they did the project together, and I was like kind of A&R'ing for him, kind of just thinking like, okay, like what makes sense? How are we gonna format this? Where are they gonna get this resource? Who's gonna do it? Why are they doing it? All that kind of stuff. And there was a song on there, and like I was like dying, like you guys need to use the original one. I think that the song is losing value because of it not being the original one. And my dude work was like, Tre, I'm telling you, you just gotta trust me. I know you don't hear the second version yet, but you're gonna like it. And I was like, no, like this is just like, I'm telling you, you're, wasting time or whatever. And we go to the studio, and it was like that first project was really where Colin and me, I felt we kind of just like locked in, like we knew like the mutual respect we had for each other. And he like played the version of the second version, and I was there and seen how fast he recorded, and then I was like, dude, why would I even ever want the first one, And that comes back down to also realizing too, you kind of have to really plan everything out all the way through, and just like really be able to execute from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? I'm huge on that, and me and Jalen learn more and more about that every day. It's just like we make such good songs, and we just want to just throw it everywhere because we might not have the biggest audience in the world, but we have an audience that is receptive to content that we put out. So we've starting to learn how it needs to just take time, and we need people like you, like marketers and strategic people in our brands to be able to just release music as much as we want, because it has to be for a purpose, or it has to be something that drives something, or it has to be just to have meaning, and
Absolutely.
So that's huge. That's definitely huge.
I think you kind of touched on something there that I've definitely worked into the podcast of. Right now, I think you're ended up being like early 90s in episodes, but about 70 of those are actual full interviews of different people around the town, or I've done some international Skype things, but most of them are local Cleveland people. And if you're a gambling person, you got to figure at least one person of this 30 people, music-wise, that I've interviewed, one of you guys is going to blow.
Right.
And then at that time, once somebody goes to look for an interview, say when you blow up on a new song, then they see, oh shit, Colin's Conversations 2 years ago had him, he had J-Work, he had Jamil in the show, you connect, you have all these individual pieces, and if you could then get the backstory of all of them, then once it all puts together, once one person blows, it's a chain reaction of follow this lead, follow, like we said, the little up here, it's this guy. We just talked about, there's 3 different links I could throw in about the Set It Off story.
Of course, and that's like amazing too. I've always felt like that's one part of my strategy, or just one part of my process that really I just always got ahead on. It was real easy for me to start promoting myself because I was never afraid to like champion someone early. Like Lorene, she is literally a great example of that. Someone I just kind of was like, she's dope. Like, I mean, I have 100,000 people to say she's dope, but just know, like, she's dope. And other people too, like, Cassidy King. Me and Cassidy did a lot of work early, and I just was like, I didn't even like. Me and my manager, we laugh about this now because it was just so far-fetched. But we got into a argument about me working with Cassidy because he was like, yo man, she's getting a good amount of views and attention, and I was so angry because I was like, well, I don't want to work with her for that reason. Like, we can't just because he's my manager, he always wants what's good for me. And honestly, I think that I was, now that I look back on it and the more like time I have, I just was kind of a little bit hard-headed and kind of was just I'm a Taurus too, so like I was super like firm on why I didn't want to do it. And I literally was just like, yo, I don't want to work with someone just because they have a certain audience or they have a certain brand that I want to get to. I want to work with them because it makes sense and it's practical, and more importantly, like, it's again going to drive something. And then 3 weeks go by. Next thing I know, I get a call from my friend, and he's like, yo, anywhere for a studio? I'm with Cassidy to make a song. And then the rest is history, and now we're great friends and we're amazing artists. But I waited for that time where it was an organic moment for me to take in advantage and just of the good energy and just hone in on like doing something that means something. So
Absolutely. I think you and I almost had that same conversation in messages like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When we were talking about putting this together. You're like, oh, I guarantee people will watch my episode. Let's put it together. And I was like, I don't really care how many extra people you could bring. It's like, what can we talk about? What key points can you and I hit that we could kind of uncover something new? And then once you see, there's 4 different things we could talk about. Because that's the worst thing you want to do is have somebody come over that you've never met in person, come sit down here, and then try to be like, fuck, what am I going to talk about for the next 45 minutes?
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, once you see that, you're like, oh, he doesn't just DJ, because how long can you talk about going like this? But when you figure out, he understands the business behind music, he understands the different way to promote himself. You know what I mean? There's 8 different angles to bring it. Then you're like, it's not about your audience at that point. And the reason you have your audience is because you're so multifaceted. For sure. And you're consistently trying to put out new things, and they see the progression, so they follow you. Yeah,
of course. And that's just, I think, comes back down to like just consistency and just foundation. And I'm like, while it seems as if I have a lot of experience, I'm still only on the cusp of, in terms of like long-term experience, I'm only just budding in that sense, you know. And you got to really have a good foundation, because you like have to realize that times are changing and the market's changing and people are changing and how people consume what you do is changing. So you can't change too much, because if you change too much, then you feel in essence of trendy, but you also don't want to lock yourself in with what you already know in that element of comfortability, because you don't want to fade away. So it's just about realizing that, when you're innovative, or when you work hard, or when you just are passionate about what you're doing, like, you survive with the changes, and you don't feel like you have to compete with anything other than yourself in your journey. So it's definitely super, super important to know that and to realize that as a creative, and yeah.
And as a creative, why is there not a Tre Smith podcast?
Why not? Because literally, like, I want to do 25 before we even tell the public about it, literally.
So there's 22 of them in the bank already?
We got to turn the cameras off, and then we'd have to talk about it.
Gotcha. The reason I ask is that's kind of one of the main things that I've thrown out to a lot of different musicians locally is, we mentioned earlier, you get next to no money when you stream a song. But the fact that you only are focusing as a I'm just saying you, but musicians in general are focusing on either an EP, an album, or a single. But instead of just focusing on that one end product, if you then focused on documenting the process of it, interviewing the producer or the person that's a feature on the song, you have that, you put all that together, you have a podcast, which you could then get sponsorships, make more money, and then at the end of each episode release a different song that's going on that project, or a snippet, or a different edit to be like, hey, podcast, what do you think? Kind of another way to put your face out there. Yeah, for sure. Because when, I think you'll probably agree with this statement, as a musician, you're not just selling music, you're selling yourself, and your product is yourself. Yeah. So, like, you need to figure out different mediums to put your shit into, whether it's a film, whether it's a podcast, but there's so much more revenue possibilities. In the same way that we're sitting down here, you're already in a studio. That means you have better recording stuff than I have in this podcast studio. And a degree. You have that golden opportunity of content as a producer. You do a lot of kind of your daily streams or whatever. It's like, you could just take that exact stream and use that as your podcast for the day. It doesn't always have to be the interview. And I kind of recently swapped that up. Instead of doing long form, now I have 5, 10, 12-minute clips. That grew the podcast so fast. Because not everybody wants the hour, in the same way that not everybody just wants a single. Yeah, of course. And yeah, that's great. It's just it's about really just kind of understanding that brands are these multifaceted products. And I love that you said that we're kind of selling ourselves in terms of music, and that's another reason why we only compete with ourselves in music. And Logic always said, and I'll never forget this, because I was, before I was doing music, because I do music for a living. That's what pays my bills. That's what keeps me fed. That's, is my focus, my purpose in life. But,
You know, when I was working at Circle K, I worked at this gas station for like 2 years.
By the way, everybody, he just completely stole my next question. As soon as he said that, I was getting ready to use the information of what was it like the day that you quit Circle K because you could then afford to live off music. Wow. So that was in the bag. We'll use that.
I love it.
We'll run it back.
I was segueing on my Joe Rogan swag.
Completely in there. I had to throw my Nardwuar piece in there.
I love that. I love that. Well, originally, I wasn't even, like, I didn't, like do music. I wasn't like working at a job, and then like I'm like, oh my god, a big bag, and like, okay, bye. It was like I used Circle K and just any job to kind of leverage me to put me into a better job, and then use that better job leverage to fund my startup. You know what I'm saying? And it just was amazing. It didn't feel good or bad because I just felt like it was time. You know, because to be a musician and to work for yourself, you need a certain element of consistency that's unlike a lot of other things that you kind of are accustomed to. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think like every person that's a creative should learn about prioritizing self-sufficiency and just prioritizing like making sure you're not stressed about certain things in your life personally so you can make the best music or make the best art or just make the thing that keeps you happy the most. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that was a huge wake-up call for me when I first had to start working, because I didn't realize so many things in my personal life were going so wrong that it was actually really reflecting my product that I put out and how I push it and my attitude towards it and how I make it and all of that stuff. So, you know, it felt good to leave Circle K, but I just went to a third-party contractor with Amazon and then caked up off of Amazon and then just left and just like, I'll figure it out. You know, but it's a blessing. It makes me grateful that even during a pandemic where a huge portion of my money, I would say, which is DJing, because I really try not to I don't really play somewhere without getting paid in some form to some degree. For me to, you know, say I'm strong enough to not only like go against that and to believe in myself in that capacity during a pandemic, but also really get taken care of, is just so humbling to me. It makes me realize that, you know, you don't have to like, you can have enough power in yourself and your situation and the universe really to be able to do the things that you want. And you don't have to limit yourself, and you don't have to feel like you have to do something you don't want to, or you don't have to have that, you know. Because while I was working and before this is my job, I valued the fact that I could just eat. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I just valued the fact that I could, like, even though I went to this corporate environment with terrible people that really didn't the only reason why they liked me is because they knew I was a good worker, and I'm in this environment where I'm subject to people and opinions. I'm already an artist. I'm already sensitive, you know. But I had to learn that because, you know, it's just subject to make you feel like you have to feel like you have to conform a little bit, and it's really not the matter of conforming. It's the matter of realizing like you got to do what you need to do to do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So it was humbling. It was humbling and very, very lot of gratitude.
On the back half of the show, I like to kind of pick your brain and kind of use this time to, since you kind of segued a little bit in there perfectly, use this time to use your brain to help others that in similar situations of yourself, whether it's now or a few years ago, to kind of give them the 101 playbook of how to do a few things. Okay. So somebody that's a DJ that has turntables, that they know that they love to do it, but they don't know how to turn it into money. What is a few good tips for somebody to get a paying DJ gig? Okay, so one of the biggest things I would recommend anyone to get a DJing gig that's paid. You need to show people that you are valuable, and there's only one way to get paid for being valuable in a creative field, and that's just to do such good work that they can't deny you. Mm-hmm. You know, I was going to I always had a friend when I was in my senior year of high school. I had a friend in Kent State. It was like his freshman year, and he was like my best friend.
and he just was 1 year older than me. So when I was a senior, he was in college, and he always was like, "Yo, I'm about to be in Kent State now. You can start coming to Kent State." At that time, I was kind of in high school, so I was kind of like, you know, being a little shit. So I was like, you know what? Like, these parties aren't anything really different than what I'm already doing at home. Like, we're just getting turned. And I'm also like a drummer in a band at this point. So I'm like, whatever. This isn't anything really new or exciting to me. And I went to Kent State. And at the time, there were three streets on Kent. It's University Street, Main Street, and College Street. And those were kind of pretty much the Greek life streets of where, like, you had to know someone to know somebody to get to a party, or you had to just be there for a reason. You can really be some guest with your friend and be able to go to the party, let alone DJ it. And I just thought to myself, like, how could I make these people, like, know that I'm serious, and I want the platform, right? Because college is the biggest platform. You could literally go to a college, promote yourself, and come out even and come home and gain something. You know what I'm saying? So I went up to a fraternity. It was a TKE in Kent. Shout out TKE and Jacob Penna, but he's later in that time. But I went up to him and I said, hey, because I was a freshman, my dude was a freshman. I said, you should let me DJ your party. I mean, I'm in front of all these brothers. I'm in front of the president. I'm in front of 10 people that all look the same versus me, this one kid that's just there, that's young as fuck, that, you know, it's just all odds are against him, you know? And that was like, look, let me DJ your party. If you think it's so shitty and you think that it's even a little bit bad, I can't come to this fraternity anymore. I can't DJ on the street anymore. And everyone was like, what? Like, this kid is bold. But I like him and I like his drive. And I ended up DJing that party, and the rest is history, because they ended up, every time I went there, they showed hella love. I was able to get people in there whenever I wanted, whenever I pulled up. And at this point, my friend, like, he's not even joining a fraternity yet, but then he joins a fraternity. And now I'm already kind of buzzing around the college, and I'm basically having the ability to do gigs. And eventually I land a gig with a fraternity I'm gonna leave unnamed because Greek life is super private and very sacred. But they gave me a residency, and they said, every time you come here, you can DJ as much as you want. You got somewhere to stay. You got a home base. You got some drinks, so you don't have to try and get someone else to get you your drinks or some shit. And that'll be our payment to you. And that just was amazing, because I was able to go out and eventually get paid gigs, because everyone would see me DJing the fraternity parties, and there would be 200-300 kids there. And then I'd go down the street and be like, yo, guys, you guys are doing this show with this rap artist. I've been DJing all these fraternities, and I don't even go here. So now you're like, holy crap, you don't even have that bias of a college student approaching something from a business opportunity. And it was just super easy for me to leverage myself again into something that was a paid type situation, to where I would eventually be able to DJ the freshman weeks and how they have the freshman meetings, and for Kent State, directly for Kent State, I ended up DJing that, and I got paid for it. So, you know, you gotta stay open to opportunity and just play shit that's dope. Play great music that means something to you. Play music that you know is a part of you, is an extension of you, is something that you want to create a story with and build with. Because if you honestly can't do that, it's going to be harder for you. It's going to be very much harder for you, because, you know, that's what they're paying you for, is to set the tone of the vibe or the event or the party or the moment. So.
And once you started getting the paid gigs, how did you kind of determine, was it just you threw out a number and you're like, I need this much? Or was it kind of just basing off of what other people charge? How do you determine what to charge somebody in a situation like that?
No, that is probably one of the golden questions, because when I first started charging people, I really was fucking up a bunch, because I didn't know where to value my art, and more importantly, I didn't really understand how much someone else is getting, because I felt like I was a peer to them. So I was like, if I can't figure out what the fuck I'm about to charge myself, how will I know what they're gonna charge? And I just really kind of overthought it. And you kind of just have to realize like that how you value yourself is gonna be how other people value your brand, because it's your brand. So you have to really just study and learn. I was getting paid when I was in a rock band. Like that was kind of the funding for my music at a low level. First couple 3 or 4 years with the same best friend that helped me with the college thing. So I was going to these gigs and these hole in the wall bars, not even hole in the wall, just bars in general. Shout out like Brenda Lears in Willoughby Hills, or Spectators in Chesterland, or the Stone Water Tavern in Kent, and I'm trying to think what other one. Blind Pig on West 6 before West 6 was even a thing, when other clubs were huge. But I was in these spots and they would pay me $100 to just come in and turn some guitars down to make sure they weren't squealing with the band that I was with. And that was my little five $20 bills I had to just figure out, okay, like I don't necessarily need to like spend this impulsively, but like could be something that could go towards my music. And I just kept reinvesting it back and reinvesting it back and reinvesting it back. Even though I was spending it, I was just building equity as much as I can. So, you know, you got to figure out where you get valued, and you got to figure out like what makes sense to the person that you're trying to talk to, what makes sense to the product that you're trying to do. You know, if I was an artist, no matter how good I was, if I'm, you know, going to an artist and I'm like, hey, I got these beats, and because I, you know, worked with this person, I'm charging $3,000. It's not really practical. You know, right. You're just kind of like, well, I didn't come to you because you worked with. I come to you because your beats were fire. So what is there, the middle ground? You know, but I take a lot of work into that. I take a lot of time into really thinking like, how much time is this gonna take? What's gonna happen after this person pays me? What happens to the work? Because I'm also an artist, so you know, it's gotten to the point now where I've gotten so many paid opportunities that it's like I'm kind of taking a loss if the work doesn't get out. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of taking like a kind of a humbling, like I may have gotten paid, but you know, I need to elevate my brand, and I designed for the purpose of people to interpret the art. Right. So you know, it wasn't even a money issue, you know, but like I said, just talk and communicate with people, because you can't assume just because someone doesn't have a following, they don't value you and they won't pay you however much you think. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got these kids right now, they're paying me, you know, a lot of good money for mixes, and they just have not been in a studio environment where they've dictated to know how much that is and what that is. But I don't see it as a moment for me to be like, all right, I'm just gonna run the checkup on them because they're young, and I'm gonna like sun them. I just say it as like, well, they value what I'm doing, so maybe I should, instead of trying to figure out how I can squeeze the most money out of them, how can I give them the most value that they have, to where they can make money for themselves and not necessarily even need to spend with me all the time, even though they keep coming back because they love the experience and they love the product and they love my energy. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of just got to really ask yourself that, because everything's different. Like Jay-Z said, there are no rules in what we're doing. There is no, you know, set plan. You know, if you're a doctor and you know, fix hearts for a living, there's a very specific way to do that. You need to be very qualified, and you have to have a lot of experience to do that in a way that is going to impact that person who's essentially buying from you. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, like, it's heart surgery and it's insurance, but, you know, hospitals are a business. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of got to just have that sense, and it comes with just experience.
The next thing I want to talk about your business acumen is the value of essentially the value of collaboration and partnership. You and Young Cap have been working together for years. You and Jay Work have been working together for years. The list goes on. But kind of, what is the key to building a new relationship, or maybe even are there any tips of reaching out to somebody that maybe you think is above your radar to kind of build yourself a new opportunity?
That's a great question, man. I think a lot of that is based around understanding that, closed mouths really don't get fed. If you have a beat or you have an art piece or you have something an idea, something in your mind that could rattle something, could change something, could put someone in a different space, you got to really champion that, and you really have to hone in on that, and you need to focus on that, and that has to come with channeling your energy. And I felt like a lot of the times when I felt that I had a big idea, something that I think was a larger than life idea, the only reason why it didn't work out is because I psyched myself out, because I felt that they didn't think that maybe they won't think like, what are they gonna feel like if I do this idea, or what if blah blah blah, and all these other things that don't really matter in this terrain. Because also when I've had big opportunities that I'm also like, what the fuck? How did I even wrap my head around doing something like this? A lot of times I just overthought it, and a lot of those people on the other side that were at that level really appreciated me and respected me for the thought. The thought is what counts, you know what I'm saying? And like that's just a huge part of that, most definitely.
And of those,
that's the word, most definitely.
Most definitely. Actually, yours. I had your word earlier. I forgot it. I'll pull it up. The next time you say it, it'll click.
For sure.
Tell me more about the relationship with Young Cap. You're his pretty much resident DJ anywhere that he goes. Right?
yeah. That's kind of a good resident too DJ. Yeah, I'm always like every month like changing like my like what I call my role, because it's again a multifaceted one. Because he's just like my brother, but I've really been with him from 0 to 100 again. So like being able, from his best parts to his worst parts, I was always there. So even though nowadays we're kind of just like, I trust him a lot. So I don't need to necessarily be as like next to him when something happens. So I got a lot of love for him, man. You got to really just build synergy, and you got to, and I got a lot of love for Daniel, because we just stay consistent. We always work. There might have been times where it was like, we're like, and then other times where we would just want to fuck each other up because we're just so exhausted, and we just want to be great, and we just want to do dope shit, but we're human. You know what I'm saying? And we both are like Jordan, so like we want to like just fucking be great all the time with what we do. And that can just get exhausting, and you got to realize at the end of the day, like that's just like your homie, and that's like your family and your brother, and no matter what happens, no matter how they feel, you guys are still for one goal. You know what I'm saying? That's just to do tight ass shit, you know.
I got 2 last questions and we'll wrap this up.
I hate to, because it's been great.
We got tacos. We got to eat eventually.
Facts.
It's getting late. Let's see. Let's go with the biggest thing that I've, in all the rapper, musician, producer interviews
Creative,
that I've done.
yeah.
When I record a podcast, I do the audio, I do the video. As soon as the video's done, I'm ready to put that shit out, either on my website, YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, I've made it, I'm good with it, put it out there. That is not how musicians work.
Interesting.
And to me, I think there's probably 1 billion plus great songs that are on somebody's, like, your hard drive or a rapper's hard drive that never make the light of day.
Yeah.
My wife uses there's a song, Cabin in the Woods and Scuff Mixon have, called Cheesecake. It's never been played anywhere other than Casey's basement, but she's heard it, and she knew the song after like a week, but they've been tinkering on it for years. So what is it about a song that clicks for you that says this is ready to be released, this is ready to get off my hard drive into the public, or is there anything that says no, I can't release this until?
I think out of me personally, my biggest thing that really dictates of whether or not something is released is kind of based on really where is it going. Is it a collaborative project? Is it just something for me? Is it something that I need to do something else? Is it just, there's a very huge amount of plethora of factors, but a lot of the time it's just timing. You know, there were a lot of songs or a lot of moments where we were like, dude, this is gonna go crazy when we lock in and knock it out, and it has. And it's shown us over time and time again, like, we know the energy and how that feels. So when we're releasing records, it's like we don't think about the blow up record. We don't think about the, oh my gosh, because we know what works and we know what things can do if we give them time, you know? Like even with my album, Cognitive Distortions, it was like, that was a, to me personally, in my best, at my best resources being pulled, that to me was a complete thought. Like that was, even though it was 11 songs of dynamic and content, it was a complete thought that took probably a year to really be like, okay, like, all right, to the best of my ability, this is our great, you know? And over time, I've realized that there's things sonically that I think I would change, or things I would kind of let simmer on. But a lot of the end of the process of the album was just like, get it out, get it to people that need the music. At this point, we can't really, you know, fiend on how long something's gonna take. There were some songs that had 18 variations, 9 mixes, because we were in a position where we could do that, because we're all in-house. So all of our producers are in-house, all of our audio engineers are in-house, all of our graphic design departments are in-house, all of our business affairs are in-house, all of our marketing teams and people that are helping us promote our music are all in-house, all committed to us. So we can have the time for us to not rely on someone else's time schedule to design. And I think I would encourage more people to do that, because music needs that. That's why I really love Will Cherry, because he sent me an album called Burgundy. Well, I can't say this one because it's not the album. There were a lot of stuff that was on this album that was there, but there's a lot of access that was cut out. And we have to really embrace that as artists, because, you know, it's not like how it was even in 2010. We all can create from a laptop, from a computer, from an iPad, and be able to have high resolution work without the feeling of deadlines, without the feeling of we don't have the right tools, without the feeling of not being aware. There's too much shit on the internet, and there's too much capability of the individual. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta know when it's time, and you gotta just get it out. Don't be afraid to get it out. That's the biggest thing. Some people like take their best pieces of work, and they're like, these are the ones I'm saving for if Kanye walks through that door, I'm giving him this. And really, Kanye wants those 4 beats you absolutely hated that you took no time creating, that was just something you undermined and you weren't aware of. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you just gotta trust your gut with that.
Now, I think we're going to get a really good facial reaction out of this one. This is the last question before we do our digital soapbox. You know about the digital soapbox? Do you follow the show good enough to know about that one?
No, you got it.
Cool. I got you on the spot. Socials. I got you on the spot for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
But so you go to sleep. You wake up the next morning.
Boom.
You could still hear your girlfriend talk. You could still hear trains. But anything that has music or melody, you cannot hear ever again. What do? Can you live?
I would all have to be dependent on when it happens, because I'm actually trying tomorrow, yes. Because I'm currently trying to develop right now. This is super I would say top secret, but I'm designing. I'm trying to create something that makes it so people that are deaf can be able to make beats through the visual engines that we use in our eyes.
Nice.
So like,
so you're still pushing, you're still finding a way to like get into the music even if you can't hear it.
Yeah, and also the thing is though too is that I realize how visual creating music is, and like I said, I just know that there's a way that we can use our visual parts of how we use our senses to create a sensibility of tangible music.
Do you see music in color?
No, but I've heard of it.
There's been a few musicians that I've talked to.
Music in color, isn't that when they do like the like banging and like of?
I don't know about all that, but I've had some people kind of explain it where like a sad song they hear it in blue, or an energy song they might hear it in red, which sounds like you've taken some really good drugs in my opinion. Where like I'm like I just hear. It's words, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not hearing colors, but it's interesting to see, and it makes sense once you hear that a creator does hear things at a different type of level than me, because I can't create what they do. Yeah. I also don't hear it the same way that they do.
I love that. And yeah, that's super huge. That's very important. I was reading on, I read on Pharrell and Kanye. I don't know the validity of this statement, but apparently they see music in color. But I'm huge on creating music in color. Like colors, it's like Skrillex. I'm going to paraphrase Skrillex because this is a very huge pivotal part of my sound design. I realized that Skrillex, you know, he said it the best. You know, a lot of music and creating music is getting that tone of green just right, just right. Even if that takes an hour and a half, just playing with that sound, playing how that sound makes you feel, playing on the emotions of the keyboards or how that melody makes you feel, and just creating a tangible product. Even though we don't see like music as like something as tangible as a phone, I do believe that sound waves are extremely tangible. We play them everywhere through different speakers, but they're just as tangible as a painting to me. So, you know, it's very, very interesting.
How a song has 1,000 different layers when you see it on before it's mastered, and it's all these different tracks coming in and out.
And different colors. I mean, I'm color code AF, so like my kick drum is always the same color, or my hi-hat is the same color, because...
And you're doing that so if you're looking for it, you know exactly where to go, so you're not searching for a word or something like that.
And I'm not like, and I'm also just seeing the tones, like, you know, like for example, the work I do with MD Tre a lot of times often is very eerie. It's very dark. It's like dark green, if you could define it in colors. But there's a lot of color that can explain emotion, and there's a lot of sounds that can convey emotion the same way we do painting. So that's a very interesting take, because they're saying Pharrell like sees colors or hears colors or some wild thing, and I always thought like, do I see colors or feel colors? I think I can compare colors. I can compare red to distortion. I can compare, you know, orange to bright. I can compare green to eerie, blue to smooth. So it's just, it's very interesting. I think more people should do it too. It'll help.
Have you been studying kind of the science, the psychology of colors, being somebody that does album artwork and different visual things like that too? Kind of subliminally say, look at all this green, like it's going to be something, you know?
Yeah, my foundation for design started with the study of colors. Even long before I became a graphic designer, and just all of my art classes, just learning about cool, warm, analogous, triad, contrast, and just
what
how
is analogous? I'm stupid on that one. I'm analogous? Like, I had you at cool and warm, and then you went to like 3 other ones.
Triad, analogous. I'm pretty sure analogous is it's like, so if it was like red, orange, yellow, it would be the 3 connected next to each other. I want to say, but I'm not sure, because Adobe Illustrator has a color guide, so it tells you of all the complements, all of the triads, all of the analogouses. But I don't know the exact rules. I will look it up though. It's very, very easy to Google.
Absolutely. I get so mad nowadays, like especially like I was saying, I like figured out how to do all this house fixing. Like I was a landscaper and a marketer by trade. Like I've never had any idea about tile till I did it in the sink or whatever. But like, I don't make an excuse if I don't know how to do something. It's like, all right, I have this idea. Yeah. And like I made a little time-lapse video doing this. This thing has random floorboards supporting it. It has random pieces of baseboard, like just the random scraps of what I had around the house with the basic principles of this is what you need to frame. Oh yeah. And then you're like, all right, well, as long as this wall stands up and nobody tries to support themselves on it, it's a perfect set. But like I could have been like, I don't know how to build a set. You said you didn't know how to chop 3 inches off the table. Yeah. You take a ruler, you mark 1 inch at 3, and you go, vroom.
Bro, you're good to go.
I mean, it's just having that confidence the same way you have confidence to go on a stage or anything else. It's just, what's the worst that could happen? Is I have to cut it again? You just got to try it. Go on the internet, watch a video or 2. All right, I got the principle. Put it to work.
For sure. That's a lot of my design career. It's just like me learning about tools and learning how to do things, and just kind of, you know, Will Smith, he said it the best in Pursuit of Happiness, when he like came and he like got there and he's in front of Jay Twistle and like 4 company executives, and he's here and he's you know, he doesn't have a suit on, and he's painting because he's in like a huge, you know, he was in jail the whole time, and his whole entire life was riding on this interview. And he said, you know, when they were interviewing him, and obviously were bashing him about what he looked like and how he did, and he said, look, can I just say something? And he said, you know, if I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to say I don't know it, and I'm going to find it.
Right. You don't stop at I don't know. You
can never stop it on I don't know, because if I stopped at I don't know, you know, I wouldn't have did my show with Jack Harlow. If I stopped at I don't know, I wouldn't have worked with Young Cap, and if I would have stopped saying no, I wouldn't have done things with Wiz Khalifa's DJ or done that thing, because you can't let the ability of you not knowing something dictate if whether or not you're going to do it, because maybe you may not know, but maybe the other person doesn't know.
Right.
Maybe that person that's telling you that you can't do this actually has never done it, and that's why they only know. So you got to just trust your gut, and you got to be open to information and know that like anything is possible. And I truly do believe that. I genuinely like live my whole life thinking anything is possible. I can do whatever my mind takes me to, because there are no limits. There are only the limits I set for myself. So
awesome. Now you're set up for the digital soapbox. I'm going to go reposition the camera. Dead on you. You're going to get 1 minute to say,
for sure,
end the interview however you want. So you could take it promotional, you could take it inspirational, you could just say how to find you.
So I can just end it?
Or you could just end it at 10 seconds and be like, I'm done. But you get up to 1 minute once we set it up on you to end it any way you want it to go.
In a time where life is extremely complex and there are moments in time where we all have no idea what the fuck is going on, you can go to Tre Smith's DJ sets and you won't feel like shit. I am Tre Smith. I have been humbled by my man Colin here to give you guys an interview. Watch that shit. Enjoy that shit. Share it if you like it. If you fuck with it, you know what I'm saying? If you fuck with something, you can fuck with something. And I appreciate you guys. Love always.